Oh, wow. Just come in, sit down. Let's have tea. It's a foggy, rainy day, and let's just relax. Um, it's been an amazing week, and I'm just so happy to be with you, to feel you, to just relax. So let's just have that let go breath that arises from nothing and fills us. And the exhale just washes over us like a column of a waterfall of light. It goes all the way down through our bodies, through our feet, roots, all the way to the center of the earth. Let's just breathe the next breath that is arising, that breath that loves us, that is us. And let it, the exhale, just come down and relax every muscle, every bone, every cell. And let's just be here now. I'm really glad that this is tea. I have to tell you something. Oh my gosh. My son is a really kind of a quiet guy, but his sense of humor is like so good. So I've been crying a little extra a lot this week, and I'll get into it a little bit, but I crazy anyway. And sometimes it just like, "Ugh, why do I do that?" And I really truly have begun to love myself. That I do feel, and that I do have tears. And so anyway, this is the funny thing, is as my son said the other day, he's like, "So mom, do you call this tea and tears with Teresa?" And I just thought that is like so perfect. Oh my gosh. So, but this is just tea with Teresa. And yeah, I did never experienced a week like I've experienced this week. And I'm sure it's probably the same for you. It's just an intense, intense time. Um, I did write a post about our little puppy, and thank you. Oh gosh, thank you for all of your kind messages and compassionate heart that I felt. And I wasn't super clear maybe in my post. So some of you were like, "Did I read that right?" And yes, you did. Um we had the most precious little 10-year-old puppy that we had to say goodbye to. And our pets, I literally I had someone write in, thank you so much for that. That can we just talk about our pets? And so let's just do that, because they are such sacred souls. And if you have pets, you know that. And they're here, they're so here to um, walk with us through all the things that I think that they knew that they needed to walk us through. This beautiful soul um, texted me, and she said, "You know, our pets, it's such an intimate, sacred relationship that they have with us. Like, they know us as much as we know ourselves." Um, this one gal had uh, sent me a message saying, "Oh, my beloved cat." she would know exactly where to be whenever I was feeling whatever I was feeling. And she said when I would cry, she would come up and put her long arms around me and hug me. And it truly, our pets so know what to do. I was thinking about that. I don't know if you looked at the post that I posted on Instagram and Substack, but in that one, I had a photo, and it was when Bava was just tiny. And at the time, we had this beloved person staying with us, and she was going through a really difficult time. And Bava, she would get up in the mornings, and she hates mornings, but she would get up in the morning and she would start making her coffee. And Bava would come up and just lay on her feet. And I woke up in the middle of the night and I was thinking about that photo. And um, at that time, that person couldn't feel. She really couldn't feel. She couldn't feel her heart, and I don't know that she could even feel her feet. And so last night I was just like, boy, Bava knew I'm just gonna lay on her feet so she can feel her feet this morning. So she can feel her feet today before her day even starts. So um yeah, that was our Bava. Um I really do got to tell you this because in the night as I was thinking of her, there was a really funny story, and I literally laid in bed and just laughed out loud because if you knew Baba, she was like all over you. Like if you came to the door, she had so much to say, and she was just all over you. And so this is when I was working in the office in Oregon, and there was this lady that came in, and she was quite sophisticated. It was a summer day. She was wearing a dress and her sandals, and she she walked in and sat down. And I was aware that Bava was in the room, and it kind of walked under the desk, but I was really intent on this lady answering her questions, and so I was focused on her. All of a sudden, this lady says to me, "Your dog is licking the lotion off of my legs." And I just like, oh my gosh. It was so funny last night when I was thinking about it. Oh my word. But it was not funny then. Anyway, so bless Baba. I just bless Baba. And she she picked out a new puppy for us, and Bryant is going to go pick up a new puppy the day after Thanksgiving. So next week, I'll be able to show you a little puppy. But can we just hold our pets right now, just in this moment, and just send our love and gratitude for all they've been to us? So, that the topic that I thought of for this time, this tea, which I'm gonna have a little sip of tea, and you can too. Actually, when I can finally figure out the chat, but just give me time. Just give me like maybe till the beginning of the next year. I got to get the hang of just actually getting online, getting live. But anyway, I just found this red clover tea, red clover herb and blossom. It's like so good to me. Anyways, we can start talking about our favorite teas sometime. Uh, okay, so I'm like, what is our topic for next week? And or whenever I was wondering about what the topic was going to be. And I just like heard, I can't have what I want because how many times, well, I guess I'm speaking for myself. I've felt that quite a few times. It's like, wow, I'm looking at all these people and they get everything they want. It's easy for them. And I don't get what I want. What's going on? And so I just started pondering that. And I think what made me uh, get into that was that, Bava was gone and our son really wanted, a new puppy. It's just pretty hard not to have a pitter patter and those cuddles. So, um, we were looking and he had found one in California. And so I reached out and there were other people that had reached out for the same dog and it took us wow, it might have been a day before I heard from her and she was like, I'm gonna choose. And there was a time span of when we were gonna get this dog. Well, at the end of it, her she decided to give it to the first person that had contacted her. And that was so disappointing. And I think my first thought was, wow, I can't have what I want. And but then there was another voice that said, there is the perfect dog for you. So let's just stay open and follow this through. So, of course, we did. We found another dog, a puppy, a little puppy, and I reached out, and it took some time before I heard, and I got up that morning and I thought, I know I had a sense that this second dog was the dog, but I wasn't for sure. Like I wasn't getting any kind of feedback saying that was happening because it was silent on the other end again. So I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to go shopping and I'm going to go buy a new dog bed and just all the things for this new puppy. And I just know that we have a new puppy coming in. And I feel like it's this dog, but if it's not this puppy, there's another puppy. And this puppy's coming really soon. And so I went shopping and it was so fun. Like so it moved me out of, oh no, I'm not going to get what I want. Oh no, somebody else got this second dog. Like all the thoughts that make me dive into I can't have what I want energy. When I went shopping, it was just like so fun. Like, oh, this is the cutest little dog bed, and oh, I'm gonna get this little toy, and anyway, it was really fun. And it was really in that energy that I have what I want. There is a dog, there's a perfect little puppy for us. And so I put everything in the car and I'm driving back home, and I look up in the sky. And there's quite a few hawks around here. And I see this big bird flying and I thought, is that a hawk? I'm like, that does not look like a hawk. That looks like a heron. And just in that moment, the bird turned and I could see it was a heron. And so my husband's favorite birds were the crow, raven. It was kind of like that was the same. And then the heron. And when we were in Oregon, the heron would follow him. Like there was a heron that would just like fly with him right next to his car. Sometimes they would, when our walks, they would fly right in front of him. And he was always the one that spotted the heron. So it's really his bird. So it was really touching to me because I had just, gotten everything for this new puppy. And I'm I'm driving home and there's Dawn. And so that was really affirming to me. And I guess I want to say in all of this that we are always being talked to all the time. Like the universe is sending us signs and messages if we're aware of them, because um they're going to be sent, and we're either going to see them or we're not, but they're always going to be sent. I mean, I see double digits on or triple digit numbers all the time on license plates usually, but um and there's animals and birds. There's just messages that in your heart, like that was for me. So pay attention to those, because when you pay attention to those and there's something that you really want, um those signs are just like, you've got this, you've got this. And I mean, so many times I'm like, oh, right. But honestly, when I look back, I'm like, wow, those were signs. And I really am appreciating them more. And uh, really, the support of the entire universe behind us and all of our ancestors, which are the trees and the rivers and the birds, included in all of that. So I sort of like digressed. So anyway, so we get home and I still haven't heard. I set up all this stuff and it was really fun. Like I set up a little Christmas stuff and I was just in this joyful place. Well, finally, later in the afternoon, I reach out again, and I saw that the lady had just seen my text or my message, like just like a half hour before. So, um, everything was working in the unseen. Everything was totally working in the unseen. So I'm just gonna uh, finish with the rest of this story, because this feels like the perfect dog. Um, so when we moved here, um, we started an Airbnb, and when we had we had gotten these Scottish Highland cows. We got a mama cow that was pregnant, and her stepsister. So we started with two cows, and then this Scottish Highland mama cow had a baby. But we named the the mama's cow's name was Lily. So when we started our Airbnb, we're just like, let's name it. Well, it was me, not Dawn, but let's name this Airbnb Lily's Farm. So this is called Lily's Farm. So we rehomed those cows, but I am gonna get two more soon, I hope. Uh so Mama Lily cow is not here anymore. When I talked to the lady, she had sent us this about the puppy. I'm back to the puppy now. Um, she sent us a video and I watched it, and it was the cutest thing, of course. And I said to Brian, so what are we going to name this little puppy? And Brian's like, well, her name is already Lily. Didn't you listen to the video? I was like, no. So I said, I didn't hear that. So I listened to the video, and sure enough, this little puppy's name was Lily. And this little puppy's birthday is the day after Brian's. So to me, this feels so synchronistic. Like, no, yes, if you're wondering if this is your new puppy that I believe Bava picked out for us, she's the one. So um I think in that story, it's so easy to sink back into, I don't get at what I want. Like there's things that happen that aren't how our mind thinks they should be, or that first puppy should have been our first puppy. That is how our mind works. And so then we go into this belief that I don't get what I want. And that idea that we entertain, I don't get what I want, or I can't have what I want, is a belief. It's a really absolute lie, and it's a belief. And I had this other beautiful soul write me, and she's like, can we talk about in the context of I can't have what I want, that if I if I get what I want, then I'm taking away from someone else. And I was thinking about that in the middle of the night because I've had that too. It's like I don't want to take from someone else to get what I want. Um, but the root, I believe, the root belief under that is I can't have what I want. And so almost that if I get what I want, I'm going to take away from someone else, is maybe an excuse, or I don't know if that's the word, but um, I was thinking about one of my really one of the most influential spiritual teachers I had in and energetic practitioner teachers, Joe Dunning. Um, she used to say when we clear our beliefs, um, there is usually it's like a great big log in the river, and that's the big belief. And that big belief is catching all these other little beliefs that keep snakes. So all these little twigs keep bumping up against this big log. And so when we start clearing away some of those little twigs that get caught, eventually the big belief will go. And so I kind of I kind of looked at it like that, that maybe the big belief underneath, I'll take away from someone else if I get what I want, is might be one of those little twigs. I'm not sure. I just was kind of contemplating that because the truth is we live in an infinite universe, infinite supply, infinite supply. So it's not even possible to have what we want and take away from someone else. It's just not even possible. And I was thinking about like a rose bush that's covered in roses. When you cut a rose because you want your own rose bouquet in the house, every time you cut that, you are actually creating um, eh, space for the plant to grow even more roses. So you're taking what you want and you've created this infinite supply of even more. And I remember when I was picking blackberries in Oregon, it was just like every time I picked a blackberry, it's like that's actually making it so that the blackberry bush is going to create even more. Um, so I don't know if that makes sense, but if we can just remember because that we live in an infinite supply, absolute infinite supply, and there is no such thing as taking away from someone else, because our birthright is infinite abundance, and we each have that birthright. Um, but in this matrix that we live in, where we have been so deeply programmed that we don't get what we want, we have to work really, really hard for what we get. Those are all lies to keep us small and to keep us believing the lies. So, hmm, I was kind of looking at, well, where did that come from in my life? And I think we can all say that all of our beliefs, and most of them are lies, have come from what we were taught. And they were well-meaning beliefs based on what our parents were taught or our caretakers were taught, so that they could teach us how to have the best life. So when I was thinking about my own upbringing, there was no was just there were just so many no's. And when we hear no, I think that the message we get is, I'm not worthy to have what I want. And I had to either work for what I wanted or in some way prove that I was good enough. At least that was the message I got. I received. And so that's a really deep program that I've had to unravel and realize that we actually create, we are creators and we get to create what we want. That's what we're here for. And when we are in that space, even when I was out, shopping for the dog, like I'm creating this space for this new dog, we get to create our life and in the joy of it. Creation comes in joy, a joyful state. It really does. I mean, have you ever tried to create something when you're really like contracted and afraid? Like, not really, because fear and contraction is completely overtakes everything. But when you're in this joyful state, it's like you're open, like your heart's open, and there's this infinite space that we are playing in. I used to have little pretend granddaughters, and they were, I think, 4 or 5 when they would come be at my house for in the mornings for a couple hours. And it was so fun to watch them. Their innocence was, there was no thought, I can't have what I want. They were just making it up as they went. And they were so incredibly creative. And if they had any kind of a little spat, it was just like they had their spat, they told their truth, and then boom, they just went on and started creating and laughing and having more fun. And that's really, really how we're meant to live. And because we're in these adult bodies, we forget that. But that little one inside of us is still there and still gets to create like he or she um, did when they were little. And, you know, um, okay, so I've sort of digressed. um, yes. So the innocence of a child. The other thing, I'm kind of looking down at my notes, which I thought of about not having what you want is faith. So sometimes there's something we want a lot, and it's always by faith that those things come to us, because it's not faith if you can see it. So if there's something just that seems so far-fetched out there that we really, really want to live, we really, really want to create this for ourselves, this life, it does um, really demand faith. And I, there's been a lot of times when I've said these words, that faith is the bird that sings when the dawn is still dark. And the darkest time before it is darkest before dawn than any other time. And that's always helped me when I have the vision of what I want and it's so clear, and yet there's nothing around me that is indicating at all that I will be living that. It requires that, like, that space of, I'm doing it anyway. I'm going to go get the dog bed anyway. I'm going to go set up the little Christmas tree and her little stocking anyway. Um, and that is the space that we create, and that grace takes it all the way home, all the way home. Um, And I think I've talked my time up. I mean, I just kind of wanted to keep this at like 30 minutes because I know your time is so incredibly valuable, and it warms my heart to just that you are taking the time to just have a little cup of tea with me in my house, this where we can just be. Before I started, I was like, can I bring what can I bring to this tea? And all I heard was, bring your heart. Bring your heart. It's the most authentic thing you have. It's the most true thing that there is of you. Like, it's the voice of your soul. And just want to say this because this just um oh, I Shaman Durek in his book, and I can't even remember the name of his book, but the one thing he says in there that stuck with me is that your inner child is your soul. So love your soul, talk to your soul, um, yeah, just communicate and move into the feeling of your heart, because your heart, when it's feeling good, it's your soul telling you your next step. It's your soul speaking to you. It's that inner child that wants to play and knows that you get to have everything you want. Oh my gosh, one more thing. I really and then one more thing. So when I was kind of going through this rough spot of I can't have what I want. Yeah, and I think it was even a couple years ago. I had this realization that growing up, everything was a no for me. I mean, it felt like that. Everything was a no for me. And I remember just seeing that little Teresa, that um, giggled at all the wrong times and all of that. And I thought, you know what, Teresa? Everything's a yes for you. Like, my adult me gets to decide because I get to mother me now, my inner child, that little one within me. And so I started just picking her up and holding her close to me and just giving her a hug and just whispering in her ear, everything's a yes for you, Teresa. Everything's a yes. And so nothing else. May you know in every cell of your being, space between your cells and the very core of who you are, everything is a yes for you. Everything. I love you so, so much. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I will be here next Tuesday. Wow. And I'll do my best to be on time. I'll get this live stream thing up, but hang in there for 2 or 3 minutes if you're not hearing me, because I will stay till I get on. But hopefully I'll be right on time next week. Have the best week ever. It's just, life is a miracle. Life is sacred. I love you. Bye-bye.